I left early and I did notify you as going to court to secure the release of the Honorable Mwanga Kivumbi as one of the sureties, and he was granted bail. The following day, on Friday, he was en route to Kampala, and he was intercepted and taken by armed men in a Toyota Hiace vehicle, popularly known as a drone. That was Friday, Mr. Speaker. Today is Tuesday. His family has been looking for his whereabouts, and the rest of us colleague leaders. Now, my questions to government are twofold. Number one, where is the Honorable Muhammad Mwanga Kivumbi? Number two, is this the new normal? Because it's important that we know. Is this the new normal of how government will, they call it arrest? We call it an abduction because, Mr. Speaker, the law stipulates what an arrest is in Article 23 of our country's constitution. The Attorney General is here. He's a very senior lawyer. In fact, he has lectured most of the lawyers in town. Article 23 is very succinct. How somebody gets to be arrested, where they are taken, to police first, and thereafter, within 48 hours, produced in court. Mr. Speaker, I have seen some people say that Honorable Mwanga Kivumbi was picked up because of a tough speech he gave when he went back to his constituency. Now, that's problematic on two fronts. One, who determines that what he said was illegal? I thought it's a court of law. Who gets to determine that? Let's even imagine, Mr. Speaker, for argument's sake, that he said anything that is ultra-vires. Who determines that? I thought it's a court of law that does. Government has several times been urging the population to avoid mob justice. And on that front, I agree with government. Government officials, police, and so on, they say when you catch somebody, even if you catch them in an act, never mind that sometimes it's mistaken identity and somebody gets beaten, yet they've done nothing wrong. But that even if you catch somebody, whether stealing something of yours or whatever the case might be, government has been telling the population, take those people to police. Don't beat them up. And on that regard, I agree with government. So why doesn't government do the same thing it tells people to do? We need to stop preaching water and yet we drink wine. If you're telling people, if you catch somebody, they've stolen your money, your whatever, take to police, please don't beat. Why isn't government doing the same? If you assume that somebody has broken the law, produce them in court. It's now been 4 days, Mr. Speaker. We don't know where Honorable Mwanga Kivumbi is, and we do hear, I've seen some pictures on social media, I don't know if they are authentic. Bruises, blood, I don't know. And the only way that can be cleared is when we get to know where he is. Mr. Speaker, you see, we were here in September of 2021. Again, some who are saying it's because of what he said. Honorable Segirinya Muhammad and Honorable Alan Sewanyana were granted bail by court. As they were getting out of Kigo prison, outside the gates of Kigo prison, they were abducted. They had not said anything anywhere. In June of 2024, the Honorable Paul Akamba, who were here with him in the 11th Parliament, he was granted bail. He was abducted within court precincts. So the Attorney General needs to help us understand. Number one, where is Honorable Muhammad Mwanga Kivumbi? He needs to be accounted for. But number two, is this the new normal? Have we now veered off what the law does stipulate, learned Attorney General?
I don't know whether I should go directly to the Attorney, because there are issues beyond him. I was feeling I should go to the Right Honorable Deputy Leader of Government Business, who is leading his troops here, and he will be comfortable to pick any of the officers, of the colleagues, to support him.
I have heard him clearly, but for me also to be able to give you a fitting answer, I request that I return tomorrow and give you a fitting answer. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And I thank the Leader of Opposition for his query, which I'm trying to answer as ably as I can do this moment. Mr. Speaker, the term new normal or old normal does not exist in my legal vocabulary. As far as I know, this parliament and this country is under a dispensation of constitutionalism. And I have that constitution in my hands here. And where it regards to the liberty of every Ugandan, it is here, very clear, in Article 23, and I can read...
Colleagues, can I have order in the House, please?
And I can read specifically 23, Article 2, for the members of this honorable parliament. A person arrested, restricted, or detained shall be kept in a place authorized by law. That's the Constitution. A person, now sub-article 3, a person arrested, restricted, or detained shall be informed immediately in a language that the person understands of the reason of the arrest, restriction, or detention, of his or her right to a lawyer of his or her choice. A person arrested or detained, A, for the purpose of bringing him or her before a court in execution of the order of court. Mr. Speaker, I don't have the facts of the arrest or alleged arrest. All I know is that we are under a constitutional dispensation. And Mr. Kivumbi has these rights, and they are protected. And as the leader, government business, has indicated, tomorrow we shall be here before Parliament and give all the facts, and we shall ensure that this Constitution, which we all swore to protect, is protected. I submit, Right Honourable Speaker.
Railway crossings. On July 10th, this same year, our nation mourned a tragedy that happened in Chetume, Katosi Road, where we had a collision of a bus and a train, leading to a loss of one teacher and very many students being injured in the same bus. Right Honourable Speaker, even when statistics show, for those that were on ground, that the cause of this was because of failure to follow traffic instructions, we cannot continue to accept these collisions as inevitable accidents. In many parts of the world, Right Honourable Speaker, railway safety is treated with absolute priority. Governments treat the railway corridor.
Honourable, these matters are for 1 minute.
Yes.
Not conclude prayers.
Thank you. I would pray, Right Honourable Speaker, to the Ministry of Works and Transport that we have integrated early warning systems, that we do not actually, that do not need to base on the amount of the noise in the vehicles that are being used. We need physical infrastructure control that should be placed on these roads. We need public awareness and enforcement. Right Honourable Speaker, safety is shared responsibility. We must launch vigorous national campaign to educate drivers, especially those in public service, on the lethal reality of railway crossings. We must empower traffic police to enforce strict penalties for any driver who ignores railway safety protocols. Finally, Right Honourable Speaker, the students that were involved in this recent tragedy are our country's future.
the lives and the life of the teacher should not have been endangered by crossing that lacks basic protection. I urge this House to support a directive requiring an immediate safety audit of all railway crossings across the country and the allocation of the necessary resources to modernize them. We must act today so that no more families have to endure the pain of such preventable loss. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. Okay, how do I direct people I don't appoint and I don't supervise? That's why you again come and say, you issued a directive, it wasn't implemented, but I don't have a capacity to say, okay, I fire you. I think we've been working as colleagues. Whenever we say a minister, we request a minister, I see them responding. Okay, I think that's a more humble language. Right, Honourable? That video went viral. I know there's a minister for traffic, for internal affairs, but it is mainly to do with what Honourable Maseruka is raising. When the train is crossing, we should block the roads. Simple, not a traffic person going and, you know. I don't know what you can say about that issue of all legal crossings in the country being protected so that we don't lose more people.
The colleagues, this matter has been deeply discussed in Cabinet. We share this concern, and the government is taking steps to rectify this situation.
So Right Honourable, we can, okay, let the matter be followed up by the Committee on Physical Infrastructure as it's doing its work. And then they will report on the floor. Honourable Twijukire Boaz. Honourable colleagues, I have received a letter from the President returning some bills dated 10th July 2026 and addressed to the Right Honourable Jacobo Maxence Obos, Speaker of Parliament. The Income Tax Amendment Bill 2026 and the Excise Duty Amendment Bill 2026. In accordance with Article 91, Clause 3B and C of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, I hereby recommit Clause 11 of the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2026 and Clause 2E of the Excise Duty Amendment Bill 2026 to Parliament for reconsideration. This is on account of the following observations and concerns. A. Income Tax Amendment Bill 2026. Parliament passed Clause 11 of the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2026, which amends Section 131 of the Income Tax Act to impose withholding tax on winnings from betting and gaming calculated as the difference between the payout and the stake. However, in passing of the bill, an additional provision was introduced exempting winnings derived from land-based casinos licensed under the Lotteries and Gaming Act from withholding tax. The exemption creates opportunities for tax avoidance and revenue leakage. By removing an entire category of gaming winnings from withholding tax, the amendment creates incentives for transactions to be structured through land-based casinos in order to obtain a tax advantage not available to other gaming operators. In addition, the amendment creates an unjustified distinction between land-based casinos and operators conducting substantially similar gaming activities through online platforms. Both derive income from the same economic activity, and there is no justification for exempting one category while taxing the other. B. Excise Duty Amendment Bill 2026. Parliament also passed Clause 2E of the Excise Duty Amendment Bill 2026, which increases excise duty on single-user plastics from 2.5% or USD 70 per ton, whichever is higher, to 25% or USD 1,500 per ton, whichever is higher. The proposed increase is substantial and is likely to impose significant cost pressures on manufacturers engaged in the production and use of single-use plastics. It may adversely affect production, investment, and employment within the sector. In addition, viable alternatives to plastic packaging are not yet readily available in Uganda. I, therefore, consider that the matter requires further study before the proposed increase is implemented as a policy measure for advancing environmental conservation objectives. Recommittal. Given the above observations and concerns, I'm constrained to assent to the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2026 and the Excise Duty Amendment Bill 2026. Accordingly, I hereby recommit the following provisions to Parliament for reconsideration as follows. 1. Clause 11 of the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2026 be amended to read, the Principal Act is amended by substituting for Section 131 as follows. 131. Withholding of tax on payments for winnings of betting or gaming. 1. A person who makes payment for winnings of betting or gaming shall withhold tax on the winnings at the rate prescribed in Part 11 of Schedule 4 to this Act. 2. For the purposes of subsection 1, winnings means the difference between the payout and the staked amount. This section does not apply to winnings paid by a person licensed to conduct a national lottery under Section 23 of the Lotteries and Gaming Act. Clause 2. Clause 2E of the Excise Duty Amendment Bill 2026 be amended to read,